there are two dominant communities which have controlled political power in Karnataka. When I say dominant, I don't mean that they are demographically the largest. See, see the Lingayats who have dominated Karnataka politics and have controlled polit- power politics in Karnataka are just about 14 to 16%. We don't know the exact numbers because the caste census details have not been released. So it's your guess and my guess. It's kind of conjecture from different sources. So 14 to 16% is a good average to give them. Then there are Vokkaligas in the south of Karnataka. They are anywhere between 11 to 12%. So they are a community, and these two communities, why they control power in Karnataka is because they are communities which are concentrated in certain areas. So when a community is concentrated in a certain area, what happens is that your strike rate increases. That is, your seat gain increases. Even if your 50% are scattered across the state, you may not get that strike rate, right? You become only a supporting caste for the dominant community. So that's the reason why these two communities have been able to control power politics in Karnataka. And the southern uh, Karnataka, controlled by Vokkaligas, is the old Mysore logic. So they were dominant right from then, and of course they were not a extremely advanced, economically very advanced community. They're Shudras, but numerically higher, tilling the land, and they are the Devagowda community, right? And then there is the Lingayats, who are extremely, on the other hand, very, very organized. Right, for 3 4 centuries they have been very, very organized, and I'll tell you why they were extremely organized. So you have an organized caste, a community, and you have a slightly disorganized community, but still a powerful community because of the numbers and the concentration of the numbers. And the Lingayats, I told you, were organized. The reason the Lingayats were organized were because there was this mutt system, the semi-nudi system, and Lingayats were an organized caste, a community. And Lingayatism was about a classless society, an egalitarian society, a casteless society, which Baswana and Basveshwara creates in 12th century. And then, of course, now all these stratifications have come back because people don't remember that they accepted the casteless and the casteless thing, but then they've all brought back. They have dual identity within the Lingayat thing. So they have their original caste, which they mention, and then they also say we are Lingayat. So they actually switch between these two things whenever it's convenient. If you want to sort of claim a certain government quota, they will say this, and when you want to vote, they say we are a Lingayat. So these things do happen in all communities, and it happens among them as well. And so they were organized, and these people were not so organized. And Vokkaligas, after a point, after the 60s or the 70s, started imitating the structural, organized patterns of the Lingayats. That is, trying to create their own mutts, trying to, the mutt was there, but to empower that mutt, make it, align educational institutions, medical institutions, put crores, thousands of crores at the disposal of the pontiff, and then also create this political alignment and create Vokkaliga pride, and all that started after the 70s, 80s. That is the time around which it sort of really became very prominent. By then, the Lingayats were already sort of very organized, and if a pontiff decided that a certain line should go across, and that would get set, and that would go across. The community was very closely linked to the Samanuri system, the mutt system. So this is essentially that one needs to remember when one speaks about caste in Karnataka. So, and then you have the third caste, which was almost like a shadow of the Vokkaligas for a very long time. That is the Kurubas. So there are some six. Again, notionally they're around 6 or 7%, or 4 to 6% of the state. But they always were a shadow of the Vokkaligas. But then at a certain point, they again found their identity, and I mean, Siddaramaya, who was the chief minister between 2013 and 18, belongs to that community. And they become interesting and important because, see, as I told you earlier, this is one of those communities that is spread across the state. Unlike the concentrated Okaligas and Lingayats, Lingayats and Okaligas are also spread across, especially Lingayats. But then, their concentration is also very high in the north of Karnataka and central Karnataka. But Kurubas are spread across the state. And what this means electorally and politically is that in a particular constituency, if a politician is a Lingayat, he needs a supporting caste of two communities or one community to win, and that could be a Kuruba community or some other community which is dominant in that area. So the demographic composition is such that it is one dominant community plus two smaller communities. So this ensures victory. So a politician plays it accordingly. So if BJP is cultivating the Lingayats, they're also cultivating n number of smaller communities so that they become the supporting caste for their victory. Interestingly, they're around 12 to 13% of the state. SCs, they're again 17% of the state. STs, they're 7% of the state. And you have OBCs who are 29% of the state. But these people, I mean, the Okaligas and Lingayats, because of their organizational strength, uh, always presented themselves as an voting block, as a single voting block. The rest of them did not have that kind of sociological unificatory thing. For example, if you say the ST vote, the ST has so many communities under it. Valmiki is just one. Okay, and then you have say backwards. On the backward class list of Karnataka, I think there are 108 castes, and the Kurubas and the Idigas are the two dominant among the 108. Right? So they play a certain kind of role. So these communities were all there, but they were dominating. The Okaligas and Lingayats were dominating because they presented themselves as a voting bloc, and they had controlled. They had a certain social capital which others did not have.